Photos and videos can try, but they'll never fully capture how impossibly beautiful Italy's floating city truly is. Venice isn't just a place, it's a feeling that lingers in the soul. Welcome to Venice! Long after the gondolas drift out of view.
Buongiorno, benvenuta a Venezia!
I thought I knew what to expect. Canals, bridges, gondolas. But Venice surprised me. It overwhelmed me. No filter, no lens, no guidebook can really prepare you for this kind of beauty. You have to walk it, ride it, get lost in it to understand. If Venice has ever whispered to your soul, we have spent the last few days answering that call. This is a story and one handcrafted memory that will live with us for a lifetime. So because Venice holds a very special place in our hearts, we would love to help it find a place in yours too. In this episode, we share with you experiences from our 2-day trip to Venice. If this is your first time, this guide is for you. All questions that we had in our mind as first-timers, we'll try to answer here. What's the best time to visit? How to move around in Venice? Where to stay? Who needs to pay the city tax? What about data connectivity? What are its must-see attractions? And many more. So let's begin. Venice is tucked away in northeastern Italy, sitting on a shimmering lagoon at the edge of the Adriatic Sea. The city itself is shaped like a fish, with the Grand Canal running right down the middle like a curving spine. It's connected to the mainland by a long causeway, but once you're in the island city, cars cease to exist. It's just you, the water, and the winding alleyways. Venice was built over 1,000 years ago on a marshland. They drove wooden pilings 15 feet deep into the mud, are still holding up the city today. It's insane. You're literally walking on a living piece of history. Venice is made up of 6 districts or sestieri, and the Grand Canal is kind of like its main street. It starts from the mouth of the fish where visitors enter, passes under the famous Rialto Bridge, and eventually opens up near St. Mark's Square. There are just 4 main bridges that cross the Grand Canal, but in total there are over 400 bridges in Venice. Yep, your step count will thank you. Venice is super well connected. Whether you're flying in, catching a train, or arriving by road from elsewhere in Italy or Europe, you'll get here easily. Most visitors arrive at Santa Lucia train station right in the Cannaregio district. And let me tell you, stepping out of that station and seeing the Grand Canal for the first time, it's unreal. Gondolas, water buses, the buzz of travelers. Venice welcomes you in the most cinematic way possible. We flew in on a red-eye from Toronto to Venice Marco Polo Airport, and from there you've got a few options to reach the island. Water taxi, pricey but direct and scenic. Ali Laguna water bus, slower but budget friendly. The airport, you can choose the Ali Laguna, or you can just take a bus. You can take the ACTV, or you can also take the ATVO. ATVO stand, the bus goes to Piazzale Roma. It takes roughly 20 minutes and the bus is very frequent. There is no Vaporetto straight from the airport to the city. But yes, the same company ACTV also has buses to Piazzale Roma. Here is my honest advice, stay on the island if you can. Venice in the early morning and late evening, when the crowds leave and the canals fall quiet, is an experience you will never forget. It feels like you have the city to yourself. We stayed at Hotel San Geremia, clean, affordable. Behind, you can see that red building. That is our Hotel San Geremia, and just a 5 minutes walk from both Santa Lucia station and the Ferrovia Vaporetto stop. That meant no hauling suitcases over a dozen bridges. And trust me, those bridges or pontes can be a real challenge if you are overpacked. No ramps here folks, it's all steps. The city tax is a nightly fee paid by tourists staying overnight in Venice. The access fee, introduced in 2025 specifically for day trippers to enter the historic island of Venice during peak hours on designated dates. Now, Venice is a city made for wandering. There are no cars, only canals, cobblestones, and charm. Most places are totally walkable. The best part of getting around Venice is getting lost in its alleys. You'll stumble upon secret courtyards, tiny footbridges, gondoliers belting out songs, and locals hanging their laundry like artwork. Every corner feels like a postcard. Venice's public transport system is basically a floating bus network. Run by the ACTV, these water buses connect all the major points, and it's the best way to see the Grand Canal in motion. I'll talk more about the best Vaporetto lines later, but definitely get a pass if you are staying more than a day.
Gondolas can be taken everywhere. You're not dependent on the Grand Canal.
The ultimate Venice experience. Romantic, iconic, and yes, a bit pricey. Around 90 euros for 30 minutes during the day and 110 euros at night. Worth it? For a once-in-a-lifetime moment, absolutely. Now here's a hack. If you want the gondola vibe without the price tag, hop on a Traghetto. These are stripped-down gondolas that ferry locals across the Grand Canal at select points. For just 2 euros, you stand, you cross, you grin, budget bliss. Venice is a year-round destination, but peak season runs from June till September. Expect higher prices and bigger crowds. We went in mid-May and honestly it was perfect. The weather was mild, the light was magical, and the crowds were manageable.
First day in Venice, just a couple of hours, just feels like that we are here for days.
Our first destination, well, I don't know, because there are so many things to see and do. We had just landed in Venice, checked into our hotel, dropped our bags, and without wasting a moment, we hit the streets. Our first stop is Santa Maria Gloriosa dei Frari. This place doesn't usually make it to the Instagram bucket list, and maybe that's exactly what makes it so magical. One of the most beautiful churches, many times underrated. It's quiet, reverent, built back in the 13th century. It holds some of the most powerful Venetian arts, a true hidden gem. Just next door is Scuola Grande di San Rocco. This has one of the best collection of Tintoretto's work. Tintoretto was one of the greatest painters during the Renaissance period. From outside, modest, but step inside and it's like walking into a Renaissance movie set. So after the Frari and the Scuola, now we are going to visit the two most famous bridges, Rialto Bridge and Accademia Bridge. Let's go to Accademia first. We strolled over to San Toma. This is where we took our first Traghetto ride. San Toma, where you have a gondola stand and you also have Traghetto. So let's get the Traghetto to go to the Accademia Bridge. The best part is it's just 2 euros. Grazie. Grazie. Just 2 euros for the most authentic gondola ferry experience. No frills, just a short glide across the canal with locals and a gondolier who's probably done this 10,000 times. A very short 2-minute ride, but well worth the experience. The Traghetto experience was very nice.
Great experience.
Paying a fraction of the gondola cost, and it's pretty popular, trust me. Next up, we passed through Campo Santo Stefano, a breezy little piazza tucked between San Marco and the Accademia. It's got that slow late afternoon vibe, couples strolling hand in hand, shadows getting longer. You'll want to pause here, and we did. Then, Cicchetti time. Think of it as Venice's version of tapas. This is a very special Venetian dish, like small sandwiches with toppings. Tiny, flavorful bites usually served at little bars called baccari. Pair that with an Aperol Spritz. Bright orange, bubbly, slightly bitter, totally refreshing. And you've officially entered Italian aperitivo hour. It's not just about food and drink, it's a lifestyle, a ritual. A pause in the day that says, life's good, let's not rush. We are in front of the beautiful Accademia Bridge. It's a wooden bridge, so many pontes or bridges. So with Rialto, this is one of the most unique. So let's get on the Accademia Bridge now. The views that you get is insane.
And this bridge is made out of wood.
One of the best views during sunset you get from here. Right beside the bridge is the Accademia Gallery. Famous for its artworks, the Accademia Gallery, you can see the huge lineup, so get your tickets well in advance. Home to some of Venice's finest classical art. But for us, the next experience was about movement. We grabbed a one-day Vaporetto Pass here and boarded our first public water bus. So make sure that you validate, because that is important, and it will show it's valid for 24 hours because that's the pass that we got. 25 euros, 24 hours. Floating down the Grand Canal felt like stepping into a painting that moves slowly, rhythmically, with the soundtrack of water and Italian chatter in the background. And then there it was, the Rialto Bridge, arched high above the Grand Canal, with tourists leaning on its balustrades and gondolas sliding below. Whether you see it at sunrise, sunset, or in the middle of a bustling afternoon, it hits. The most popular, the most photographed, the most touristy and everything, Rialto Bridge, because you get the views which are $1 million. And just take a moment, you're here, you made it to Venice. Now we could have called it a night, but Venice after dark, that's a whole different mood. So we hopped back on the Vaporetto for a night ride on the Grand Canal. We know Venice isn't famous for pizza, but it was our first night in Italy. Our first Italian pizza. Now I know the taste, it's amazing. And they eat it with fork and knife. But I can vouch for the taste, it's too good. Today we started early, hopped on a Vaporetto from Ferrovia, and slowly cruised through the Grand Canal as Venice blinked into daylight. We took the number 1 Vaporetto line Grand Canal cruise with Rick Steve's audio guide playing from our earphones. It is so very informative. The history and the stories about the life in Venice simply comes alive. So towards St. Mark's Square, from San Zaccaria, we caught the Vaporetto to Burano. Burano, that's what we're deciding?
Right, yes.
A 45-minute scenic ride across the lagoon. Number 14 Vaporetto, this takes you directly to Burano. Boats leave every 30 to 40 minutes. And yes, don't forget to validate your ticket. And we have reached Burano. Burano. Oh, Burano. Imagine canals framed by candy-colored houses, reflections bouncing off the water. We walked slowly because Burano asks you to. Today, it's one of the most picturesque and photogenic places, and somehow it's still so peaceful. Three of Burano houses, the colors are during the fog, heavy fog, the fishermen could identify their house with the color of the house. So that's very interesting, I read about. Clicked photos, peeked into the lace shops, and admired the delicate craft that's kept this tiny island famous for generations. Lace making here is not just tradition, it's poetry in threads.
At Burano Island, I'll try the gelato.
We didn't have time for Murano, the nearby island famous for its glass blowing, but if you do, hop on a short Vaporetto ride from Burano. Watch the art of molten glass come alive. For us though, it was time to head back. back to Venice. Had an amazing time at Burano. One thing you wouldn't regret is getting lost in the streets of Venice. Streets, or should I say, the canals of Venice. We skipped the crowds for something quieter and found ourselves in Calle Varisco. It's Venice's narrowest alley, just 53 centimeters wide. No, really. That's barely enough room for your pasta-loving self. This is Calle Varisco, guys. From there, we wandered into Libreria Acqua Alta, a dream for book lovers and Instagrammers alike. Campanile del Pintor. Books stacked in gondolas and even staircase made of books. The cutest and most beautiful library. Place very close to Alta Libreria, Campo Santa Maria Formosa with its iconic chiesa and the beautiful bell tower. Few narrow lanes later, we reached one of Venice's best kept secrets. The spiral staircase, Scala Contarini del Bovolo, it twists upward like something from a fantasy novel. We didn't climb it this time because our sunset view was booked elsewhere. We made our way to Piazza San Marco. Yes, it's crowded, it's touristy, but it still takes your breath away. The Basilica, the bell towers, the orchestras playing outside the cafes, the pigeons fluttering mid-flight. It's everything you've ever imagined and more. It's that surreal Venice moment. We'll go to the bell tower a little later, but for now, enjoy the amazing views. We wandered over to the Bridge of Sighs, linking the Doge's Palace to the prison. Legend says, if lovers kiss under it at sunset, their love is sealed forever. The prisoners used to be incarcerated just next to it. We didn't kiss, too many people around, but hey, maybe next time. Right beside us stood the Torre del Orologio, the 15th century clock tower, still ticking away centuries later, as if nothing has changed. And then the finale. We had pre-booked our climb to St. Mark's Campanile, the iconic bell tower that defines the Venice skyline. There's only one way up, the elevator, thankfully. For 12 euros, skip the line access, yes, it's totally worth it. And let me tell you, at golden hour, from the top, you see it all. Domes glowing in the soft evening light, terracotta rooftops fading into the lagoon, and the entire city laid out like a dreamscape. It's a moment that freezes in your memory forever. On our way back, something small and unexpected happened, the kind of moment that makes travel truly special. We stepped into a tiny candy shop. Nothing fancy, but the girls behind the counter, so warm that small exchange felt just as special as any palace or piazza. Because that's Venice, not just the landmarks, but the moments in between. Today, we woke up early, before the tour groups, before the selfies. Heard about Venice since I was a child, but finally got a chance to visit this magnificent place. It's a side of Venice that most people miss, and it's pure magic. Boats were docking and unloading freights like clockwork. We stopped at a local bar for a quick morning espresso. The coffee was hot, bold, just the real deal, served with a smile and a buongiorno.
Buongiorno, benvenuta a Venezia.
We caught one last traghetto ride from Sant'Oma. No destination in mind, just because we could. By 9:30 am, we were back at St. Mark's Basilica. We had booked a €6 timed entry ticket online. Do this seriously. And we walked straight in, skipping the long lines already curling around the square. And inside, it glowed. Golden mosaics covered the walls and ceilings. And then you reach the Pala d'Ora, a masterpiece in gold and enamel, resting quietly behind the altar. This isn't just architecture, it's emotion that echoes in silence. Although we didn't get time to visit the Doge's palace, it's a masterpiece of Venetian Gothic grandeur. For our final meal in Venice, we kept it simple and authentic. We found a tiny spot called La Paninoteca, tucked away from the main crowd. The
Polpette di carne.
meatballs, tender and seasoned to perfection, that I swear I can still taste. Simple, local, unforgettable. And then it was time. Ciao, arrivederci Venice. We are off to Florence now. We walked back slowly to Santa Lucia station, rolling our suitcases across the same bridges that had once felt like an obstacle, but now, weirdly, felt comforting. We were off to Florence, our next destination, new stories ahead, but here's the thing. You never really leave Venice. You carry it with you. In your photos, in your heart, it stays in the way the light hits a quiet alley, in the sound of lapping water. Ciao Venezia, you were a dream. If you found this video helpful, like, comment and subscribe.